it's Andrea Mercier, aka Anlome, and welcome to my studio. Today I'm going to do kind of a step-by-step tutorial because it's a small piece and I'm using an already established palette for my client. I decided that this one, instead of doing some stuff in fast forward, I would talk throughout it, because sometimes people want to see the fast forward and sometimes they want to hear what I'm saying or what I'm thinking, and what's going on. So since it's a small piece today, that's what we're going to do. So let's get ready. This was the client color choice. I did a video, it's right here. My client's name is Nancy, and this is the palette that she chose. This is an 11 by 14 frame. These are my Tupperware lids that I use to keep the piece just a little bit off so I can grab it and do the twirly thing. That's a technical term, twirly thing. I'm just saying. This is a Liquitex Freestyle Offset palette knife, and this is my kind of cheaper paints that I use to put down so that the other colors can flow on top of it. So here we go. I pre-shook this, so I'm just going to put a little bit down. So the objective of this is just to give the colors something to move on. Most of this usually ends up on the table or on the drop cloth. I found that it's better to, because I don't use Liquitex Basics for this. I use a Michaels craft paint, or I've recently switched to Cheap Joe's because I got a great big huge container, because it ends up flowing off. So my Liquitex ones ride on top of it and then they stay. Does that make sense? It should make sense. So then you take the palette knife. I like to, for lack of a better word, ice the canvas evenly. It's okay if it goes over the edge. That will just pull the color off with it as it continues to flow off the edge. I just want to make sure that the entire top is covered with this kind of lubricant before I put colors down. Now, this color palette is going into my client's room. So what I want to do is instead of these circles that I do, I want to make some pools so that it's a little bit more open and fluidy, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna just start with, in the middle, some pools of color, because as we start to pour, the colors will move out. Go. I want to do some blue. And some brown. Unbleached titanium. And some gray. Now this is a gradation paint that I made. So I took one of my fluid acrylics and I added white to it, and you can actually see a video of how I made this and 2 other gradations. This, I kind of want to divide up the colors a little bit. There we go. Just a little bit. And the metallic is going to be bronze. Like that. Like that. And what I want to do is I'm now going to do another layer of each color. The decision-making process I'm doing is so grab a color. Cerulean blue. Is it in here? Okay, then I don't need to add it. Is it here? It is not. Let's add it to that one. Let's add it to that one. Let's add it to that one. So that my puddles of color will all eventually have, well, most of them will have all the colors in it. So turquoise. No turquoise there. There's none there. I, for some reason, need to put some there. A little bit there. Some there. Like that. Maybe just a dollop there. The bright aqua. Some there. So that's pretty much when I do the pool method. I love that I come up with all my own terminology. It's fantastic. When I do this style, which I call the pool method, my objective is to get most of the colors in most of the pools. This also puts a lot of paint in the middle, so when I start to do my tilt-a-whirl movement, the paint just goes and there's not a lot of physical forcing the paint to move. Like when I do my really big pieces, I can't really use the pool method on those pieces because I would have so much paint everywhere. But on these smaller ones, it's easier for me to do this, to get more paint. All right, this dark blue, a little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit there. And then that's pretty much how I go. It's just like, oh, I need some there. Oh, I don't have any there. Oh, I should put some there. A little bit of gray. A little bit of gray. And some more titanium. Oops. That's not really a mistake. It'll all come out in the wash. Now I'm being a little bit judicious with the titanium as I'm almost out. I just did a huge piece the other day and it pretty much used up all of my browns. I'm going to do a little bit of metallic around here on the outside. There we go. Okay. So this is what I call throw number 1. I'm going to tilt the paint all over the place, see how much I get to move and what the result is, and then I'll add other paints. So you pick it up and see how it moves, and I try to not get it to pour all off right away. I want to cover as much of the canvas as I can before it starts to pour over the edge. And then I tilt it this way and it's pouring off, and then finally the last way. There we go. Makes a mess. Let me grab a wet nap. I can see, looking at the edges, that 99% of the edges got hit, which is fantastic. It's always the corners. For whatever reason, for physics, the corners seem to always get mist. So I like to come back and just make sure they have some color. And I also like that everything gets color over the edge. I don't like bare spots in my canvas. Now, then I use a heat gun. The only objective of the heat gun is to pop the bubbles on the surface. Now I like this, but I feel it needs more movement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more titanium right here. And I feel it needs some here. And then this is what it becomes. It becomes, what do I think is missing? What do I think it still needs? I think it needs definitely more turquoise. So I will add little pieces of turquoise where I feel it's missing. It's definitely missing cerulean blue. A little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here. I find there's a little bit too much white in here, so I'm going to add a little bit of blue and some unbleached titanium to break that up. A little bit in here, a little bit along here, a little bit there. Let's see, this bright aqua. I might need a little strip there, and a little bit more in here. I definitely need some along here, like that. Now the bronze, I've got some there, but I'm not seeing a lot. One of the problems with the metallics is that it has an additive to make it metallic-y, and it makes the paint heavier than the other paints, and it tends to sink to the bottom, which is why normally I only throw the metallics near the end. But there's a nice little vein of the bronze there, which I really like. So I'm actually going to just put a little bit like that. Do I need anything else? I don't want any more gray. This is good. So my objective now is just to get it to move a little bit more and see if I can get a design that I prefer. I'm not going to do it on this one, but sometimes I also use a stick and I break up the pools and create some designs, and then I'll move it, and it makes the puddles of color smaller because they break and then they move independently. All right, let's see what we can do here. So just a gentle little retilt. Okay, I like that. I like this here. I want to move some of it over here. Oh, I like that. And then tilt it this way. Actually, I want to tilt it this way. I want to get some of the white off of the canvas. So I give it a shake. On some of my larger canvases, for those that follow me, you know I can be quite violent with my canvases. There we go. Okay, where's my cloth? So I like this much better. I like that a lot of the white has gone off the side. I like that the bronze has stretched and is now just like a little vein in it. I like this. I like this a lot. Let's take the heat gun to it. I like the way that is. I like the way that is. I find that very calming. It's like a, oh, I can't think of the word. I have this desire to tilt it some more. I'm not sure why. I call this stretching the paint. And the objective is to get it to stretch without breaking. So without cracking. There. That was in the center and it was bothering me. I didn't like it right in the center. I much prefer it over there. As a matter of fact, I think I might push it just a little bit more down this way. So I just shake. There. That's much better. And then I sit and I look at it. And then usually a name pops into my head about what it needs to be called. It's really funny. For whatever reason, the thing that's coming into my brain for this one is algae, which of course isn't a super great name because people think of like pool scum, pond scum, but for some reason this makes me think of really organic kind of not bog, not swamp, you know, where there's lots of reeds and the water can be different colors, usually where frogs are, stuff like that. Actually, I think that's what it's going to be. I'm going to call it pond. That's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of a pond. So this is going to just be called Nancy's Pond. It'd be a nice, relaxing piece for her to have in her bedroom. One more hit with the heat gun. And again, all that does is break the surface bubbles. And if I zoom in here, see where all those little dots of color are? That's where the bubble pops and the color from underneath pops through, and you get this over here. You get this kind of effect, which I think is really cool. I really like it a lot. So this is Nancy's Pond. So what I do now is I'm just going to let it sit here. It'll dry overnight. It's 11 by 14, so it should actually dry without any help overnight. And then in the morning, what I will do is I will put a gloss coat on it, which doesn't take very long to dry. The product that I use is a spray product, and it dries to the touch in about 15 minutes, and within an hour it's completely cured. It is not an archival product, so I don't talk about it too much on my site. I'm not using artist grade gloss varnishes. I haven't found one that I liked yet, but when I do, I will share with you. And then I will put some provenance with it, which means I will put a sticker on it that says who I am, with the name of the pieces, what the size of the pieces, what the medium of the pieces, and I will sign it. I don't sign my abstract pieces on the front because I want the client to be able to hang them in whatever direction they prefer, landscape or portrait. And if I signed it, then that might force them to hang it a certain way, and I don't want to do that. So that is my step-by-step tutorial for how to do an acrylic pour. I encourage you to go and see my video on how I make these paints and give it a try yourself. There is no artistic ability required. All you need to do is be able to sit down, throw some paint onto a canvas and be really curious about color and movement and see what happens for you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe right here so you can join me on my artful journey. If you have any questions, please put them down in the dibbly-doo. I'm really good about answering questions from my followers and subscribers, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you later. Bye!